So it is the week of Halloween and we're finally done decorating.
It's been a super long week, 14-hour days, working really hard to get this all ready, but I think we're there.
So let us give you a tour of Glow Hollow and show you all the things that haven't made it into the previous videos and all the little tips and tricks that we've learned. I'm Gardener Coo.
I'm Clicky.
And let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do is come up with a fun name. We're really trying to tell a story here with Glow Hollow. And then the second thing you want to do is, make a sign, advertise it. So I use fluorescent chalk here. I'll put a link in the description. It's great Japanese chalk that just is a dream to work with. I also sketched fern leaves on the driveway with it last year. And finally, you want to make sure everyone knows they're welcome, open to all. Last year, a lot of people thought it was a private party here and didn't know that all of our neighbors and community were welcome to come and experience Glow Hollow. So you may see I have a lot of small mushrooms here that I didn't talk about in the channel at all this year. Well, that's because I ran out of time. Honestly, October got away from me. But here I have some bowls from the dollar store. They were already fluorescent, so these are the easiest one to make ever. Then back here I have, these are garden plant cloches that I just painted fluorescent. And then back here are actually Halloween candy bowls that I just paper mache'd and then painted as well. So another great find for this year was this fluorescent table runners. They're meant for like glow parties, but if you cut them up and hang them on the trees, they look just like beautiful Spanish moss and giving you that tropical sense of place. Another great tip is to put your signs in fluorescent, because I had people going up to the house to get candy last year, even though it was obviously down that way. So try to direct your people. People will always go where you don't think they will think it through.
Okay, so for Blacklights, we use these LED floodlights. They come in all different wattages. We have some as low as 30 watts and a couple as high as 200 watts. Okay, so for placement of the black lights, total coverage is really important. So you want to place them high, you want to place them low, and you want to make sure you get all the angles. That's why we have so many. Last time I checked, we were up to 1700 watts, and I may have just ordered 3 more, so we'll see.
Okay, the thing that really made my Halloween just amazing last year was Blacklight mushroom tapestries. I love these things so much. They add so much depth to the environment and they just really make it pop. I think I am the strategic reserve holder of these tapestries for the world. I have so many of them and I just can't stop buying them. So another new innovation for us this year was adding the black paper behind the mushrooms. Last year, you could really see the house in a lot of the photos because our house is yellow and the black lights just shined off it really well. So this year I used black roofing tar paper and it really kind of absorbs the light and it just makes the environment so much starker. I will say it's very heavy, so for long stretches it isn't really possible to use, or when you're really high. So at the top there, I actually put in a piece, but it came down last night. So today I replaced it with black craft paper. That works almost as well, it just doesn't absorb the light quite as much, so you can get a little bit of a shine off of it. Okay, so now we're on to our signature cocktail. Last year we tried serving 3 cocktails and that was so stressful. Oh my gosh. Everyone asking for a different cocktail. It was just like, okay, this year we do 1. So let me introduce you to the Glowing Gimlet. It is 2 ounces of gin, 3/4 ounces of lime juice, and 3/4 ounces of kaffir lime simple syrup. That's where you just soak the kaffir lime leaves in the warm simple syrup for about 2 hours, and it'll just add a nice little tropical flair. Now, I'm taking this recipe and sizing it up, and we're making big batch cocktails for handles of gin. When you do this, you also want to add a little bit of water, because normally when you're making a cocktail, you're stirring it with ice or shaking it with ice. But that's not going to happen here. We're just going to be dumping it into a glass with ice. So you want to add that water so you get the right ratio in the cocktail, and you get the correct flavor profile you're looking for.
Okay, and we can't, of course, forget about candy. We've got tons of candy, and we've also got lemonade for the kids so that they can hydrate after they're wandering around the neighborhood, and we have a water station as well. This year we changed things up a little bit. Last year we had the candy and the alcohol kind of nearby each other, but I think some of the kids were intimidated by the line, so we decided to separate them out, and we made a clear sign on the laser cutter, of course, to indicate where to go.
One of the most important things when designing a space like this is to make sure you have things that are high and low. That's why I did the stencils on the driveway, and for high, I put those mushrooms up on that roof. That green one there is actually the first mushroom I ever made. I made it with my little sister, and we were just trying to wrangle the chicken wire into working. This was before I started using bases, so it does look the most organic of all of mine, but it's also the most fragile, so I don't like to touch it all that much. If you're liking this video, please hit like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any fun, Halloween ideas. You can use all of these techniques in lots of different themes. You can use skulls, pumpkins. You don't just have to do mushrooms.
Okay, so another new thing we made for this year are these hanging butterflies. I cut these out on the laser cutter that I mentioned in the previous video, and each one is about as big as I can make it on a poster board. In the extra space left over around the edges and stuff, I've made smaller designs of different things that we're going to scatter around the area. In order to outdoor proof these guys, just spray them with some acrylic or polyurethane, give them a couple coats, and they're good to go. We've also got a soundtrack here. I collected some frog sounds from the internet and also some recordings that we've taken on our travels and kind of spliced them together to make a long soundtrack along with some rain sounds. It sort of gives the place some really cool ambiance. The way we play them is we have a couple Sonos speakers scattered around that are hidden under garden cloches to keep them from getting wet if it gets a little drizzly. Okay, so the final little bit of ambiance we wanted to add was some fog machines and some bubble machines. We also have one of those lasers that you point at your house, and we have two of them actually. One of them is pointed at the house, and the other one we mounted up high and is pointing at the ground. And when it shines through the fog or hits the bubbles, it produces some pretty cool effects. One thing to be aware of with the fog machine is that depending on the wind conditions, it can get a little bit intense. Last year, we just kept getting smoked out at the cocktail station, so at least a little bit farther away this year, and actually over by the candy area so the kids can deal with it.
All right, so one final thing from me is you want to have a seating area. Like, you want to have an area where you can get to know your neighbors and meet all the people in your community. Like, I doubled the size of mine from last year because it was just so much fun getting to meet and talk to these people. And also, don't forget to put the stencils in here. I have a whole video on that. You should try it. It really gives the whole area a big oomph it needed. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your tour of Glow Hollow. It has been so much fun making this magical environment. I hope you've learned a lot about how to layer different colors, different textures, and different heights. Like, this is storytelling this is the way you tell a story. And I also want to remind you, as my friend Karusha says, when you're doing stuff in an outdoor landscape, more is more. So go as big as you possibly can.
Yeah, we've added a lot to this over the years, and it shows no sign of slowing down. But it's been super fun. Everybody in the community seems to really love it, and it's been great to, bring some joy to everybody on Halloween and participate in the merriment.
I'm Gardener Coo.
I'm Clicky.
Go out there and get creative.